Alright, what's going on? Today I'm going to show you how to make beats for Ken Carson's newest album, More Chaos. This album has some crazy production, so let's get straight into it. So for the first sound on this beat, it's a pluck pattern. This is the pluck Goosebumps from my Isolate Serum Bank. And I just laid down first off this bass line here, which goes from D to G. And by the way, we're in D minor. And just laid down first a chord, and then another chord. Putting these two right next to each other, they're going to sound like harsh right next to each other, but dark, which is what we're going for here. And the rest of these notes here are just notes that they're kind of like grace notes, you know what I'm saying? Just notes that make the pluck pattern more lively, more energetic, more interesting. I'm repeating this all the way throughout D, and then it goes like up and then down the scale, kind of creating like a wave. And then random just stuff here, and these notes, which right next to each other in the scale, they're gonna give it a darker feeling. Here's what this all sounds like. So in terms of effects on that, first off, it's a Shaperbox preset, then OTT to boost some mid and high ends a little bit, just compress it. Then after that, an EQ, taking out low end so it doesn't clash with the 808, and then another EQ, taking out low end again, and taking out some of these high mid, low mid frequencies, and just boosting the high end as well. So next after that, I just layered the pluck pattern, pluck retire. This is from my Trauma Serum Bank. And I just took out the bass line, so instead just left these like high pluck patterns and routed it to the same track and got this. So on this pluck, I just wanted it to be a little bit more harsher, more fuller, yeah. So next sound here is from Serum 2. Use this for the majority of the melody. I actually believe the whole melody is just Serum 2. This is the synth stats, and I just took the bass line and then just kind of chopped it up a little bit. Certain notes are up an octave, up 2 octaves, just whatever. Made it a little bit more bouncy. Again, gives the melody more bounce, and that sounds like this. So on that, slightly glitched as well. That has a Shaperbox preset, an OTT preset to boost the mid, and then also 2 EQs. This first one taking out low end, then that same EQ right there. Next sound here, one of my favorite sounds in the beat personally is this lead NGL. Not gonna lie. Lay down a simple lead pattern, this E and then this F, which are again next to each other in the scale, dark feeling. I'm not just breakdown effects before I play it. It's this crushed preset from Portal, and that sounds like this. So I think the preset itself just kind of sounds like weird and dark, and then that Portal adds like the little like weird wobbly sound to it, so it's kind of cool. Next is this lead Upicom, and just laid down kind of a basic pattern. It's kind of more of a simple pattern. Goes from G to A, and then down from F to G, stays on that for a while, and goes up to A. I'm not just repeat that over 3 times, and I got this. So in terms of effects on that, it's fast distortion, distorting it a little bit, adding a little bit more crunch, then the Shaperbox preset, and an EQ, taking out some high end because the high end was a little too harsh from that preset and from the fast distortion, and then Soothe, doing basically the same thing as the EQ and just taking out certain frequencies to make the whole thing sound more smooth. Finally, for the final melody sound, it's the synth. It's from my new Solitude Serum Bank, designed for Serum 2, and just took the chords from the original melody and then laid them into here, and yeah, just wanted something that filled up a little bit more space, but I still wanted it to be kind of glitchy too. So here's what this sounds like. yeah, so that's like a cool glitchy kind of weird sound on its own. Then there's an EQ, another EQ, and the shaper box, just making it more stereo. So that's all the melody sounds. In terms of synths, the final thing is just this phrase that I got from my boy Jasper. It's kind of like a cool lead thing, and here's what that sounds like. So that's all the melody sounds. I'll put this sound like all together, and yeah, here's a full melody. So after that, I moved on to the drums. I used two different 808s in this beat, both from a Lucian kit and Lucrative, this one right here. And for this first 808, just like something with more attack, and I just like done this pattern right here. That's the first way. Used a lot of notes, chopped it up a lot more than usual beats I do. And then another way, slightly more subby, and that sounds like this. So yeah, that's 808 patterns. Those are clipping, definitely gonna want those to be like sitting on top of most things. For a Ken Carson beat, you want the 808 to be hitting as hard as possible. Next, just a snare pattern, pretty simple. And after that, just another counter snare. Not much to that. After that, it's a hi-hat pattern. I use two hi-hat patterns for this beat. So this first one's slightly more complex. I leave some space in certain places for like perks, or just create bounce like with the melody. And then a few lower notes here and some rolls. But yeah, here's what this first hi-hat pattern sounds like. So that's the first pattern, and a slightly more simple pattern for the intro sounds like this. Next, just this open hat, like a basic trap open hat, and then another open hat. And after that, it's just this like snare kind of perk sound, using like the Lemonade song, if you know that. And then finally, it's just this super long snare roll at the end of every 8 bars, but I have a shorter one play every 4 bars too. And yeah, that's all the drums. So I'll probably sound like together. Mainly just trap sounds, loud 808, snare roll at the end. And that's just with the second 808, but you guys will hear the first 808 in the preview beat. But yeah, man, that is the full beat. Again, mixing, I'm just mainly using shaper box. Arrangement, I'll show you what the full beat sounds like arranged. I have some more simplified version I use for the preview. But yeah, just intro right here with more simple layers, just this one and this phrase. And then a lot more melodies come in. 808 switches right here, some melodies drop out, and then just repeat that. And I just copied that over 1, 2 times, and then for this part I cut out the verse section so that it's just the chorus at the end. Appreciate y'all for watching. Again, this new Ken album is crazy. Make sure y'all go tap in. Appreciate y'all for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next video.